You don't need to explain the joy of a tick to an accountant, by the way.
No. I've even refined my ticks. I don't have the down bit anymore. I just do neat little upward strokes.
Quite. Yes. Lovely. And actually, an accountant likes green for those quite often.
Oh, yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Because sometimes you have to do it several times. In the old manual days, we had to do it several times. So we would start with blue, and then we would cross the tick the second time, then we'd go to red, and then we would... Actually, typically, we started with red for a bank rec, and then I think an auditor likes green. It's colour-coded in accounting.
I can see why that would be useful, yeah. I used to be an accounts clerk once. Did you know that?
If I did, I've erased it from my memory, Nicola.
Yeah. Welcome to Own It, Your Business in Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Good morning.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It is 25 degrees in Agios Nikolaos.
Well, it's pretty much that here as well. It's absolutely... In fact, I would be amazed if we didn't have a thunderstorm while I'm talking to you.
Well, I look forward to that then. Thunder and lightning.
It's boiling here. Yesterday it was so hot. I went and stood outside. There was no air. I had to come back in. It was that hot.
Well, and then you turn the fan and it's like being in a fan oven rather than just an oven.
No, I haven't got a fan actually, because in England we don't have that many days. It's not worth it.
No, absolutely. Well, I've been banned from working on the balcony now because the sound of the cicadas is so loud they can't edit it out of the background.
Oh, that's a shame.
I know. I like cicadas.
I agree. I think that's rather atmospheric.
Yes, exactly. But apparently they are just too loud.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, what's your week been up to then?
You go first.
Okay, well, I've been settling in my new house, which is lovely.
Is it? Yeah.
I'll do you a little tour later on. And
what's nicer or better or what's lovely about it?
It's different to the last one. It's not as big in that it's only got 2 bedrooms rather than 3, and the second bedroom's quite smallish, but it does fit a double bed in. But it's very, very, they've taken everything. They've just left some nice ornaments and nice pictures, but very minimally, so I don't feel cluttered and it's just the perfect size for one person. Just really is lovely. I walk around and I think, oh, this is nice. And the kitchen's gorgeous and the living room's gorgeous and the outlook's gorgeous and it's all just really lovely. And I was just feeling so grateful and happy every morning when I wake up to the sunshine,
Yeah, that's nice. I must say, and I think we've discussed this on the podcast before, that the word nice, for me, will never go in front of the word ornament.
Well, they've got, he works in glass, so there's there's a few tasteful glass items around.
Okay.
I quite like glass, and then tasteful photographs on the walls, of black and white Greek scenes. And
yes, no, I didn't say about photos. I'd be all right with photos, and I'd probably be all right with one glass ornament. But ornaments, I mean, it's a funny word. It kind of makes my hackles go up. Actually.
I know. And, there's quite a few shelves here, and everything's very white. So if you didn't have anything on the white shelves, it would look a bit weird.
And I suppose you haven't got in your light luggage anything of your own you would want to put about.
Nothing. I've got two pictures, one of the kids and one of Steve, and that's it.
And are you settled enough now to want to buy the odd thing to make this place your own home, or are you still keeping it light?
I'm still going to keep it light, but I did buy a set of 3 storage jars the other day to keep my coffee and sugar and stuff in, so away from the insects.
Who do you know that takes sugar?
Me. I can't quite break myself of having a half a sugar in a coffee.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have sugar or anything else at all, but that's the one thing I can't quite break myself.
Well, there is nothing else because I refuse to acknowledge tea as well, you see.
Yeah.
No ornaments, no tea, Nicola. We could call this episode No Ornaments, No Tea.
Yeah, we could, couldn't we? And I've been trying to establish a new routine, which is getting up early, doing some work, and then going out swimming. And I have managed to swim every day since I've been here. 'Cause it's, oh my God, it's so lovely to walk in that clear blue sea when you're so hot.
Yes. It's not even blue, it's sort of clear, isn't it?
Yes, it's clear. You know that picture I used to have on my desktop, which was lovely, foamy, clear water going over sand. Yeah. I've been out every night, apart from last night, where I spent a lot of time on the chat to Apple support, trying to get my laptop to plug into the telly and not go teeny tiny. Something happened to my laptop when I plugged it in Australia to the conference display system. Ooh. And I can't make it. I mean, next door we had exactly the same telly, and we had a cable, and I plugged it in, and it just mirrored what was on the laptop. Here, I plug in an HDMI cable, and everything goes so tiny you can't see it, use it, click it, or anything. And I've spent hours on the phone to Apple last night, and they just couldn't help me. And Sarah's now sending me helpful articles, which aren't making any difference.
So does that mean when you went to go and have a look at that very handsome tennis player I introduced you to yesterday, you were only seeing a very small picture of him?
Well, no, I was looking at it on my laptop, but I wasn't able to get him on the telly, no. But, it's a minor irritation. I'm sure it'll get fixed at some point. So, Apple helpline wrangling, mainly.
Okay, and so in the end, they had to admit defeat as well, did they?
Well, they did. They said reinstall the software, and I tried to reinstall software, and it wouldn't reinstall. It came up with this weird message saying bag drop empty or something.
Oh, dear.
And then the best they could offer them was taking it into an Apple shop, and I said, well, that's not going to happen, because
no. Rural. And how big is your laptop?
It's a 15-inch.
Yes, I think it's bigger than mine. You see, I just watch telly on my 13-inch and on my iPad. That's all. I don't even have a big telly.
Well, I'm going to have to watch British telly on my laptop for a while because, and the thing is my eyesight's not great, and I'd rather watch it on something bigger. But I've got Netflix and Amazon and everything on the big screen, so it's all good.
Okay, all right. There's actually the good news is there's not much on UK television. It hasn't been for me for at least a month. Yeah,
of course. There's still the odd hospital drama, though, isn't there?
And I don't watch hospital dramas, but I do watch, and I think you do as well, Poldark.
Oh, yes, Poldark, yes. All the BBC dramas. But they've got the BBC iPlayer and ITV and Channel 4 app on the telly.
Yeah.
But when I try to watch it, it says network error. So I suspect it's the old, they know it's in Greece kind of thing.
Ah.
So unless I can get the VPN working on the router. But
well, that's tempting.
Well, you say that. I'm not that techie. I mean,
no, but your landlord's an engineer, isn't he?
Yeah, well, exactly. The landlord is an engineer, so he might help. Yeah. So good week. Just settling in, enjoying it, and having a lovely time and meeting new friends. I'll tell you about that later on. So you take your week.
Well, quite an interesting week. Only on my iPad, not on my laptop. And in a minute, you'll be able to tell me why that is, because you're a clever bird. But since I announced last week on the podcast, and more importantly on Facebook, that I was writing a book, I have been bombarded on all sides by sponsored Facebook ads for all manner of things related to writing a book.
Oh, yeah.
Ninja writing, editing, proofreading, better writing, marketing, covers, you name it. But only on my iPad, because I've got ad blocker on my laptop.
Oh, okay.
But actually, if I weren't such a single-minded, confident woman, I would have gone into a spiral of, oh God, there's no point in me writing a book unless I buy all of this stuff or some of this stuff, or I don't know enough to write a book or something. And actually, it's bombarded is the word I feel. And I'd been suckered in by one of them, opt in, click here to find out more, before I realised, oh, hang on a minute, this is a slippery slope. I could lose my life in this.
Yeah.
But anyway, good news. Lots of marvellous support and encouragement from last week's announcement. 30 questions have come in so far. One of my anxieties about deciding to write a book, as we've discussed before, not in so many words, but we have discussed it before, is that I don't want to do anything else for a living that requires me to sit more time at a desk.
Yeah.
But obviously when you write a book, you've got to sit at a desk. And I am delighted to report that I've manifested a new, more comfortable chair.
Oh.
And I take that, of course, to be a sign. I am 33% through my Scrivener tuition, and it's only an accountant who would measure her progress like that, of course. I think you would be impressed, because in my notebook I had to get up a sheet that says, I think you'll like this, Udemy Study Guide. It should say Judith's Udemy Study Guide. And it lists all 18 modules and all 109 mini films. I've projected when I think I'll finish my training, and I tick off the number of modules and calculate the percentage as I go through.
Oh, good God.
Well, it's the only way to get through it, Nicola. Otherwise, it would just be sheer hell. To be able to see I'm a third of the way through it, it's quite encouraging, to be honest with you. And what I'm really, really excited about is that now I know, and you can see on Udemy, the shape of the course. I won't be able to remember any of this, so the first learn through, is just to get the overview, and then when I want to do something specific, I'll just go back and read that bit, watch that bit.
See, I'm a visual kinesthetic learner. I have to start doing quite quickly after watching, otherwise I'll just never do.
Well, I've done some. The sort of bare bones is really easy. The functionality of the, oh my God, you could do that, it's a little bit more complicated, but each of the videos that explains how to do it is only like 3 minutes long. So the one that blew my mind, that got me really excited, I've forgotten already what it was and how to do it, but it's only 3 minutes for me to learn how to do it again, and I know where to go to learn how to do it again, if that makes sense, when I'm ready. But anyway, there you go. So bombarded on all sides by sponsored Facebook ads. Can
you just tell us a little bit more about your book if you're ready to? Because I'm
not. No, I'm not. No.
That's why I'm not grasping the concept yet. Then.
You didn't read last week's newsletter. Go back to last week's news. It's full. It's full.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why that wouldn't be clear to you from that.
Okay.
I lay out that it's all about the emotions.
Yeah, no, I know. I love that idea. But you were soliciting submissions, weren't you? And
I want to answer people's questions, which will come up anyway in my ordinary coaching with them. But people have sent in emotional questions, all the stuff that they make up, what I call bonkersness. They make up to stand the psychological issues that stand between them and being successful. And 3 of my email people, lots of people sent me 1s and 2s. But 3 of my email people sent me 6, 7, 8, 9, 13. Lots of good ones.
Well, also, I think if you skim the list of Own It episodes, there's regularly...
Well, as I did say in that newsletter, I can't be bothered to go backwards because it's too boring for me. But yes, I will do that, but only to make sure that there's not something I've missed that I would have wanted to go in there. But I can't be... I've got 2 Facebook groups full of questions that people have been asking me for 5 years. I can't be bothered to go backwards. I'm going to collect them going forwards. And there's another benefit of that, which is it keeps it current. What people ask is now, not, what they asked before.
Yeah. I think this book is well needed because actually that's all that stands between people and success.
Well, I think I could write this book annually because I'll just need to update it with another load of the 2018 questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, there we go.
Yeah, good. Because, you don't suffer from a lot of the emotional stuff, do you? You don't.
No, but that doesn't matter because if my clients tell me they do, I believe them. Yeah. Because I know that if we feel anything as a human being, we are not alone.
Yeah.
There's never a single emotion I've felt as a human being where I've uniquely felt it in the world. We're all bound together by that. So if one of my clients is brave enough to tell me she feels that, then there's dozens of them, hundreds of them feeling that.
Yeah. As Rich Sheffrin used to say, that which is most personal is also most general.
Yeah.
But we all like to feel we're unique, don't we?
Yes, except in that regard, I think, to know that, I think the point of the book is to know that you're not alone in that feeling and that people can employ themselves despite having those feelings is the point.
Yeah, good. Right, so what's fueled your fire this week?
Yeah, you go first again.
Okay, you're going to love this one. I'm installing Xero. So installing an accounting package is fueling my fire.
But when you say installing it, how is that different from having used it before? Are you saying you were on the cloud before or what?
Well, no, I'm not installing it really. It's in the cloud, but I've had to set up a new Xero installation because the last one was for my last limited company, and on the advice of my brother-in-law to be, I've changed my limited company, and I need to set up a new Xero. And Patricia is on a sabbatical, so she was the one who learned how to use it last time and then taught me the basics. And I fell at the first hurdle of importing my bank account. I've had 2 attempts, it's not done it, but I have successfully imported my Facebook feed, my PayPal feed, And Stripe doesn't need a feed because it comes in to your bank account. So all you need is PayPal and the bank account. But I can't make anyway. So I went to Right Club yesterday, and on the way back, Steph was talking about, she's the one who's got the daughter-in-law.
Yes.
Who runs the podcast.
Yes.
She does their books for them. And she just mentioned she had Zero for Dummies. And I was like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And I said, she said, do you want to borrow it? I said, no. What I want to do is hire you to come and set it for me and teach the basics of how to use it. Because, and the reason I need this is because my year started last September. I didn't really do anything but had a lot of outgoings, which need to be offset against future profits.
Yeah.
But I've had a stonking last 3 months. And I really need to get a grip on this because, I keep it on a spreadsheet, as you know.
Yeah.
But I really would prefer to do it. I need to be able to issue invoices at a drop of a hat, and Zero would be great for that. So
So presumably, actually, you got as far with the install as you could right this hot second now. If we weren't podcasting, issue an invoice.
I'm not convinced I could issue an invoice yet, but
because that sounds like a standalone functionality that doesn't need to be connected with your bank account.
Yeah, I probably could, to be honest. But but anyway, I need it all, and I want to reconcile it. I'm really looking forward to reconciling all the in bits with the out bits. It's going to be so satisfying. Yeah,
I like a little bit of I always like. I mean, I use Sage, as you know, and I like a reconciliation on there. But I used to like a manual bank reconciliation as well.
I do, but
back in the olden days.
I can only do it if I can print it off, Judith, and tick it, because I'm out. It's a long story involving me ordering print cartridges to be delivered to Phoebe, then bringing them back to Greece with me, and to find out that I'd ordered the wrong ones somehow.
Oh.
And now it's going to take to the 17th for new ones to arrive, although my Mozzie Net's got here in no time at all. So I keep getting messages to say there are packages down at Green for me.
You don't need to explain the joy of a tick to an accountant, by the way.
No. I've even refined my ticks. I don't have the down bit anymore. I just do neat little upward strokes.
Quite. Yes. Lovely. And actually, an accountant likes green for those quite often.
Oh, yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Because sometimes you have to do it several times. In the old manual days, we had to do it several times. So we would start with blue, and then we would cross the tick the second time, then we'd go to red, and then we would... Actually, typically, we started with red for a bank rec, and then I think an auditor likes green. It's colour coded in accounting.
I can see why that would be useful. Yeah. I used to be an accounts clerk once. Did you know that?
If I did, I've erased it from my memory, Nicola.
Yeah, I used to sit and tick off royalties at Sony Music Publishing. Great long reams of computer printouts of them and input them, and then have to reconcile them anyway.
I mean, actually, I do think if we were to spend, all of us listening as well as talking, were to spend an episode listing all the jobs we'd ever done, that would be quite funny, wouldn't it? Because I know you've worked in a bakery as well. I've worked in a fish and chip shop.
I didn't know that. When
I was 16, you do know this story. I was 16 and they called me Julie all summer, presumably because they'd never met a posh bird called Judith before. And because I was 16 and relatively shy in those days, this would have been 1970. There's only so many times you can say to your elders and betters and more experienced and more worldly wise, no, it's Judith actually. So in the end, I just went under an alias for the entire summer.
And did you have to, sort of dumb down your poshness to be able to? Would you like
to be honest? I can't remember. I'm better at dumbing down my poshness now than I was when I was 16. But my parents used to draw short straws about who would come and fetch me from the chip shop because I did stink at the end of the shift.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I obliterated that from my memory.
Well, I'm not surprised. It's not a fun memory in mine, to be honest.
Are you still partial to a fish cake?
Oh, actually, funny enough, I've already had a conversation, not a fish cake, but I've already had a conversation today about fish and chips. If anything, fish and chips is my favourite kind of, I can't have it on my low carb, but it's my favourite kind of go-to thing.
Junk food, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I would call it junk food, because actually it can be quite nice and can be quite posh. But, if somebody said, what would you like today for a real treat? I'd probably say fish and chips.
Oh, see, I always think it smells better than it tastes and it isn't worth the calories.
Oh, not if you have it, fresh on the Whitstable seafront or, no.
Oh, context is everything, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, so, client challenge of the week then.
Sorry, just before we go there, I haven't told you what's fueled my fire. I haven't finished telling you about fish and chips, which is, of course, I like is at the Ivy. It's not naff there, darling, I can tell you.
No, I've been to the Ivy with you. Did you have that time?
No, I don't think I did, actually. But
No,
no, I would. So what's fueled my fire?
Yes, what has fueled your fire, Judith?
Well, today is the 6th of July, and the 1st of July was the 40th anniversary of my becoming self-employed.
Wow.
1st of July 1977 to the 1st of July 2017, 40 years. And right now, thanks to my book idea and my new clients, I'm as excited by my current business as I ever was, after a relatively long period of self-employed woes, some of which still continue. But it is nice to have a revised focus. I think eventually I'll have to have a website overhaul, alongside the book, and I think my offerings will change as well. And I had a little thought, which was, so in my 40th year, is 40 the number of questions I want to answer in the book? But actually now I'm back on 52 at the moment. But I had a fascinating conversation with Vanya, who used to be a client of mine, and she's also given me Word of the Week on Facebook, because she made a comment. She's quite political in a left-leaning sort of way, Vanya. She made a comment about, I can't remember what the context was, but it was about 0 hours contracts. And since she's self-employed and I'm self-employed, I said, aren't we all on a 0 hours contract, Vanya? And she said, yeah, we are. Self-employed people are all on a 0 hours contract.
Yeah, if we only did 0 hours.
Well, no, 0 hours contract means there's no paid work guaranteed for you. And that's the state of employment in the UK and beyond now. And I realise it's been my state for 40 years.
Yeah. And it's so weird, isn't it? Because it's only sort of 100 to 150 years ago that everyone started expecting to go to a place of work there.
Well, factories first of all, and offices after that, and we're going back, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
No, neither do I, because it really encourages people to...
well, we can't all go back. We can't all go back because we need, the train drivers and all of that.
Yeah.
A word from our sponsors. This podcast is sponsored by clicksandleads.com. Clicksandleads.com believe in affordable traffic and leads for everyone. They'll set up your Facebook ad campaign, page likes, leads or remarketing, then they'll manage it for you. They'll even split test your ads and audiences to find the best performing ones. Game-changing marketing from clicksandleads.com.
Client challenge of the week then.
Yeah.
Now this has arisen from a conversation I had with this week, and she's also been hired on a freelance basis by who is wonderful, and she gets on really well with him, and she likes the rest of the team, and she works from home, and she's supposed to do roughly 2 hours a week, but she has a number of challenges which are starting to rear their heads now. And they are in no particular order. The fact that they pop up all day long, ask her if she could just do this. And she feels that she can't charge a quarter of an hour or half. I've been telling her about the whole concept of accountants and solicitors. If you call them, you get charged quarter of an hour minimum or half an hour minimum, depending. And she should batch, she should just loosely in her head batch the number of times she's been asked to just do this on top of her 2 hours and just say, well, that was roughly quarter of an hour or added up or half an hour, whatever. But the point is, it stops her doing her own stuff. Since she's been working for this guy, she's only managed to get one of her own videos out because they're just constantly popping up on Skype, etc. And then the other thing was, they then this week said, we're going to film something. Sorry, we're going to, he's speaking at a thing, he's doing something the night before. Would you come to Wales and film? We'll obviously pay all your expenses. But she said, I don't know how much to charge them because obviously I won't be working on while I'm travelling. And I said, yes, but it stops you working for someone else while you're travelling. So really, you should charge them for, 24 hours or whatever. And you should negotiate this in advance before you go. The other thing was she did do some filming for a friend of she didn't ask how much she'd charge. She said, and I said to her, really should send an email confirming the gig and then saying, these are my normal charges. I was, I'll only charge you X. Because she still is in the situation. She's moved from a pub job where she was earning £7 an hour to something where I've said to her, this is what your rack rate is for the day or half day, but you can discount from there, but you need to get used to the idea of that being your daily rate. And it is a very reasonable daily rate for a videographer. So, but she's struggling around all these issues of people asking her to do things. They don't want to confirm the price before she goes to do it. She then feels bad because she doesn't know what she's going to get paid or anything. And then, you know, this whole thing about going to work. Does she charge for a 24-hour period? Does she just charge for the hours she's actually working and not in a hotel room? Take it from there, Judith.
Lots of questions. If it were me, and I realise it isn't, and it's much easier for me to say these things to my hiring clients, contractors, than it is to you, but we will get there. Typically, what I see my clients doing when they go on the equivalent of the trip is there's the day rate for the working day and the half-day rate for the travel time.
So if she was leaving at lunchtime and coming back the following night, not getting home till midnight, what would you charge?
Well, how many hours will she be working?
Actually filming?
Yes.
Well, she'll be actually filming in the evening of the first day, but travelling for about 6 to 7 hours to get there. And then she'd be filming all the following day and then travelling another 6 or 7 hours.
All right, so it's a day and a half filming at rack rate.
Yeah.
And however many hours travelling at half rack rate.
Okay. But the
travel is half rack rate because you're not doing anything except sitting on your arse.
But you can't work for anyone else.
No, but you are on your that's why it's half, because you can't charge full rack rates for travel.
Okay, so here's the issue. So she charges them X amount of an hour when she's doing 2 hours a day, and her rack rate per day is something different.
Yeah.
And if she charges them a rack rate for a day and a half plus 2 lots of half days travelling at half rack rate,
yeah,
it's going to be an enormous sum, which bears no relation to what they pay her per hour when she's doing 2 hours a day.
Well, forget they for a minute. All other gigs have to be no leavey homey without signy emaily contracting.
Well, that's a great point, because I keep trying to get her to confirm things in writing first.
Yeah, no, unless a client is prepared to exchange emails with you confirming the basis on which they're hiring you, no leavey homey.
So when it's a friend of the family, for example.
Especially for friends.
Yeah. Okay, so with the friend of the family example then, when they said, oh, we'll discuss it all when you get here.
No, sorry, I'm not allowed to, my business coach says I'm not allowed to leave home unless it's all agreed in advance.
Make someone else the bad guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so don't leave home without something agreed in writing.
Yeah, no point, because you get there, you can't agree something, you hate them.
Yeah, that's true.
Awful.
And the other thing is, she got somewhere, one time she had to go somewhere and someone else picked her up, and it turned out to be, I'm not joking, be in the middle of nowhere. And it went on for hours and hours and hours. This woman didn't feed anyone. They hadn't brought any food with them because they assumed they were going to get fed.
Right, so wait, no assumptions ever.
Yeah.
Always take care of your own needs.
Yes.
So if you're addicted to cigarettes or Diet Coke, you always travel with them.
Yeah.
Okay. She's going to have a box that's got in it, is an easy carrying box or bag that's got non-perishable energy bars, and you bung bananas in there on the way to get on your leave, on your
a bottle of water.
Exactly. Yeah. Be self-reliant in all circumstances, in all waking moments, always. Nothing to do with business, just human common sense.
And always have a, say, I don't know, 20 quid note so you can get a taxi to the nearest train station.
Absolutely, and keep that permanently in the hidden section of your wallet.
Yeah.
Never spend it except in that emergency.
Yeah. But the main...
Yes, no, I'm going to address the main man.
Yeah, go on.
Because I actually know who the main man is. Now, the day, I don't really care what she's being paid by the day for doing that, because she's agreed to do it. But the can you just requests during Thursday, which is the day we're on today, must only be implemented in the 2 hours on Friday morning. And that must be, the only way she's going to get them to learn to behave like that is by enforcing that. And to have to wait today until tomorrow morning for the 2 hours is nothing. And if they want something outside of that arrangement, then there has to be, is it all right for me to charge you for this exceptional interruption? Yes or no?
It takes a great deal of...
No, this is vital business training. Okay, now these people will push her as far as she's prepared to go. And if you don't fight it when they push you an inch and then you push you another inch and another inch, suddenly you're 17 inches away and you explode like a volcano because you're so angry that you've been put upon, and they're surprised because you were just meek and went along with it for 17 inches.
Yes.
No, you've got to do. Now, I do 2 hours for you every morning, agreed. I will collect all the can you justs during today and implement them in the 2 hours tomorrow morning. If you want something exceptional outside of that, you will pay at this rate, and I will interrupt my day's work as soon as I possibly can to do it for you. Now, that will train them. She can collect them in a folder. So all emails from them go into a folder and she implements it tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but then she won't have any time to do a normal work tomorrow morning.
No, all emails that come in today. So it's more than 2 hours work. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying that the extra bits should have to go on top of the 2 hours.
Well, they do. They do. Yes, unless the client has to decide that. So it's a Mark Forster thing. We collect in a special folder today all the requests, and we implement them tomorrow. If it takes more than 2 hours, we've got to charge more than 2 hours.
Okay. So
if it's displacing the stuff she wants to do in those 2 hours, i.e. the sort of social media general, as opposed to the social media specific that they're sending with can you just, then she has to say, look, I've got 2 hours. Do you want me to do the specific or the general?
This takes quite a lot of...
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because these jobs are, the Cairncross sisters, family Soromikans have got problems with boundaries.
Yes, we do.
So we might as well all get tough now, because this is just going to get worse and more painful for people.
Yeah, you're right.
How old is...
She's 22.
And how old are you?
55.
Right, we don't want 55 squidging and painful. She might as well knock this on the head between now and 22.
Tough it out now.
Yes.
And she's actually got quite good boundaries when it comes to me, for example.
Well, quite. So people respect you for this. That you don't lose. This doesn't cost you clients. And if it does, they're just going to go off and look for some other muppet they can walk all over. That's what they're doing, isn't it? They've got to be taught.
They've got to be taught that they are, yes.
Yes, nicely, gently, a bit at a time. And if she explains, you know this, you know the rules of this, which is, I've got a dilemma in the work that I'm doing for you. You began with a brief of 2 hours a day doing the social media general. And every day now you're sending me any number of requests between 1 and 50 for social media specific, which I collect in a folder with the intention of doing it tomorrow morning in my 2 hours that I do for you every day. But it's exceeding, your requests are exceeding the time that you're paying me for. What would you like to do about it?
Yes, put it back onto their shoulders and their decision making.
Yeah, their decision making.
Yeah, it does require a moral fibre, doesn't it?
No, it requires, I tell you what it requires, a clarity of communication.
A clarity of communication.
And showing the client the problem the client is creating without any apportionment of blame.
Yeah, without getting emotional about it.
Yeah. Facts and figures, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is, and also the other thing is that you have to remember it's a contract. It's a contract between the client and the supplier. And if it's not working for both parties at all times, it can be renegotiated, can't it?
But if it can't be, then we move on, because we only really want to work with people who appreciate us enough to reward us appropriately.
Yes, and we did try to negotiate a better rate at the beginning, and they were immovable on that, which is fair enough, because it was still better than...
now they're trying to push it still further by getting more done in a day than they're paying for, even at a chiselly rate.
Yes, so nobody's going to fix this apart from yourself, is she? She's got to have those conversations.
Well, she can rehearse that conversation with you and me as many times as she likes until she feels empowered to go into negotiation with them.
Yeah.
You're right. I think it's that any contract has to work for both parties all the time. As soon as one side starts to feel bad for any reason, if that's not addressed quite quickly in clear, clean, unemotional language, no use of such expressions as how this makes me feel is, how you make me feel is, I feel, no nice girl hand wringing. I tell you what would be helpful in this is the 1 minute manager principles, which is it's such a thin book. I don't know if you remember that. You agree in one page you go for what you're going to do, and somebody tells you very quickly if you're doing it right and quickly if you're doing it wrong in clean, unemotional language. And this went wrong quite quickly, but I think what we all think we have to do when we're at stage is take any SH1T from our clients because they're paying. But actually, it's an equal relationship, not a doffing the cat, kowtow, client in charge relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do a bit of editing on this so that it's a bit more anonymous. But the other thing is, she feels extremely grateful for the opportunities she's been given. She loved she loved working with the people that she was working with.
Yeah, but they're either knowingly or unknowingly, they're taking advantage of that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And it's, she's got to balance out, hasn't she, how much of that she's prepared to put up with.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't even think of it as prepared to put up with. I always say to my clients, unless you can do it for a price that fills your heart with joy, don't take it on. So if somebody's offering you 100 quid to do something and you're so keen to do it that 100 quid would be the icing on the cake, do it. If you'll dread it and you wouldn't do it for 250, don't do it for 250.
Yeah. Yes, it is a challenge, and it happens to everyone, doesn't it, when they start out?
I think that's useful because you can say to these people, nice clients, nice friends, I've been burned so many times already, and I've only been self-employed for 6 months, that I cannot leave home without an exchange of emails that agrees to what you expect of me, what you'll provide, and what you'll pay. I
do constantly remind her of your amazing phrase, which is, what's the brief and what's the budget?
Yeah.
But she just keeps forgetting to ask it.
Well, and she's got to put it on a sticky note on the corner of her screen.
Yeah, she has, yeah. Every time she gets asked, I
yes.
to do something.
What's the brief and what's the budget? And if the friend goes, oh, I thought you'd do it for me because you're a friend, then the answer is yes, at weekends.
Or out of office hours.
And even then I want, suppers weekly for 6 months or something. I don't know. You've always got to ask for something back from takers. Otherwise they'll just take. Yeah, an emotional exchange, an energy exchange, biscuits, it doesn't matter. They've got the takers have got to get into the habit of giving as well. And we train them to do that by asking something, whether or not we want it. If it's not money, we want some exchange. What can they give us that they've got in return?
Yeah, I'm going to edit this fiercely just to protect the innocent, and then I'm going to make...
Sorry, who's the innocent in this, or the client?
Well, I'm just feeling a bit uneasy about us talking about it in public.
Just explain to me, who is the... Because if it's not then we don't have a worry. If it's not the client, we haven't said anything about the client who reveals who they are.
No, but people might be able to track down whose client is. So
Well, she's got more than one client.
Yes, she has. She's got several clients.
We can't really discuss this challenge without having a client.
No, that's true.
And you know what they say about memoirs? If you didn't want to be slagged off, you should have behaved better in the first place. I think maybe they don't necessarily... Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. I was going to be innocent and say I think maybe they don't understand...
They haven't got a clue what
they're asking for, or the problem they're creating, or the boundaries they're crossing. And they never will until somebody on this side... Yes, exactly. Yeah. And she can do it really nicely, and she can do it a bit at a time. Don't do the 17 inches explode volcano. Because then people just stand and look at you and go, oh my God, what happened to her? She didn't give us any clues en route that we were offending.
Yeah, very true, very true. And that's what happens when you don't have any boundaries. You get pushed and pushed and pushed.
Well, in my first job when I was 17, and I worked for this really, really nice man, and I didn't know he was a nice man because I'd got no context. And he always wanted to do his work at 5 to 1 and 25 past 5, and all his other TAs had left. It took me 6 months to actually explode and throw a tantrum in the office, and everybody in the department just stood around and watched me. And it's like, oh, she is normal then. I'd been sucking it up for 6 months because I was 17 and a new girl. I didn't know any different. And then suddenly, it all exploded out of me like a mountain of vomit, which is what happens. Yeah. It's what happens in a relationship if you don't say anything. Just because I washed your shirts the first week doesn't mean I want to do it for the rest of my life. And it's all our fault for not saying soon enough. I
was just about to mention marriages and relationships.
Yeah, it's the same. If you fake it in those first few weeks, you have to live by that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if the other person then changes and starts behaving not according to the contract, you can either renegotiate or you can leave.
Well, we've got to learn, haven't we, how to ask for our needs to be met and to allow for them to ask for the same in return. It's a yin-yang, givey-takey thing.
And it's a much better, more joyful relationship when you know that the other person will ask if they need something.
Marvellous stuff for the book, by the way. These uncomfortable feelings is nothing to do with business. It's just uncomfortable feelings because we haven't done enough personal development yet. We don't know how to ask for our needs to be met.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you'd like it in the context of the book.
Loved it.
So what's your word of the week then?
Well, going back to Vanya, because we also had another exchange on Facebook about this. She was using this word in a horrible jargony context. I don't think she'd mind my saying that because she's got a more academic approach to life than mine, and she's done sort of lots of degrees in different topics, and she was using this word in a sense that I didn't understand, and I hate the use of the word this way, but I love the meaning. The word is agency. She kept saying something like agency, agency, agency. What on earth are you talking about? And one of the meanings of the word agency, which I didn't understand, was it means having a sense that you can create or influence or make things happen. It's aligned to autonomy. It's a sense of empowerment. And Vanya thinks it's a trust in one's own capacities. So again, this is a nice thing for my book. But have you ever used the word agency in that context?
No, in fact, we had a conversation earlier in the week, and you kept saying it, and I thought, what is she on about?
I know.
And then I finally twigged the meaning of it from what you were saying.
Yeah, well, I don't think I said it to you, but I think I said it in this conversation, because I in the end, I had to say to Vanya, what on earth are you on about? I haven't used it to you, Nicola. I don't know where you got that
someone
from.
else has then.
Unless you saw that conversation, and in the end I had to ask, because it's like I don't understand what the use of this word means in this context. And after she'd explained, I googled it, and of course that is a meaning of the word agency as well. But so I've written down here, hate the use of the word in this way, but love the meaning.
Yeah, interesting, very interesting.
What's yours?
Expansion. Which is because I'm feeling in this house that I've got enough space, personally, psychologically. I'm not feeling cluttered. Everything's here that I need. You know, they've left me a real lovely little starter home kit of cutlery, crockery. There's, ironing board and ironing, everything I need. Hardly anything to buy. I just feel that I've got the space in my head and in my physical surroundings to expand and do more stuff.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because those would be three of my, when you said space, you said no clutter, I've got space personally and psychologically. That's three things that would be non-negotiables for me.
Yes.
I need them to function well.
Well, I'm discovering that I do too.
Yeah, I think we all do. Do you know, our very first episode was about clutter, and that's why, because you can't function unless you've got that space.
Well, I can't. I mean, there are people who swear that they're more creative living in clutter.
Yeah, they're fooling themselves. Because actually, it's not so much the physical clutter always, is that how oppressed people feel by that, whether they realise it yet or not.
Yeah, very true.
And so, you can be cluttered by emotions, because you're talking about psychological space. And, you're free there as well.
Yes, because emotions are just clutter inside your head, aren't they?
Well, exactly. Yes, absolutely. Clutter inside your head.
Yeah. Project updates. I'm
happy to scoot over it, and I'm going to recommend that you scoot over it for the next couple of months, because you don't want to be doing that with the stand-ins for me in August.
No, I was going to. I was just going to say actually that I wanted to tell you about my Write Club.
Yes, do.
There's a short story competition coming up, and I find that I am much more likely to write if I'm deadline driven and might win the chance of £1,500.
You're such a funny squidger, aren't you? Short story competition. How much? 50 quid, did you say?
No, £1,500.
Oh, 1,500 quid, yeah.
That's much more like it. And you have to write a short story of 3,000 words about a journey. And as I've just been on a journey, I think I might be able to put something together. So,
nice.
And I'll be critiqued in 2 weeks' time from the ladies at the Write Club before I submit said competition entry. So it's a bit of fun, really. But
3,000 words in a fortnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
actually, a journey is a very nice topic for a short story, isn't it? Yeah,
it's by a tea company actually sponsoring the competition, but there's quite a lot of these little writing competitions going on around the world, so that's quite nice. What anything your end on that?
No. Shall we go into who or what's impressed?
Yes, go on.
I was going to say, because actually this section was blank for most of this week, I was going to say I was impressed by my Udemy Scrivener plan. But although I must say I am impressed by David Lee Martin, who wrote the Scrivener for Windows Udemy training. I think 10 quid for 109 modules is excellent. So big up to David Lee Martin. But then I saw this video, which I'll link to in the show notes, about Elon Musk. You know Elon Musk?
Yes.
What I didn't know about Elon Musk, well, actually, I knew some things about him. I didn't know, for instance, he had a nervous breakdown in the 2008 financial meltdown.
No.
And I don't think I knew, or I wasn't, I could have imagined, but I wasn't as aware as I am now I've seen this video, that all of his work, he's been subject to scathing and ruthless attacks from people who say it can't be done, what he's trying to do. And specifically, well, he's proved them all wrong. He even borrowed $20 million from the US taxpayer, repaid it with interest and a bonus. So he gave the US taxpayer a profit on the money he borrowed from them, which is fantastic, let's face it. But the thing that's really impressed me is he's managed to achieve, one of his things is space travel, and I think it's called SpaceX, is that right? Anyway, whatever. He's managed to achieve bringing a rocket back down to Earth and landing it neatly like we would park a car. So now all rockets are reusable and they're not abandoned in space and cluttering up space.
And I think that one was actually a refurbed rocket. So
I mean, how amazing is that? I mean, all our lives we've seen them take off and not come back, except in a tiny little sort of coffee capsule. But now they can come back and land.
I know, it's going to be, the next 20 years is going to see a massive...
And all the time, Nicola, all the time, heroes of his, he was in tears in this video, because space heroes of his were telling him it couldn't be done. So we're talking about the emotions of this book and all the people who tell us all the stuff that we've got in our heads. He did this whilst the most heroic leaders in this field were saying, no, mate, can't do it, simply can't be done, mate.
Yeah, I would love to watch that.
I will. I'll send it. I found it yesterday. It's 6 or 8 minutes long. Really, I mean, he cries in it as well. I love a man who cries.
Yeah, absolutely. I as I've interviewed lots and lots and lots of people, and as I've talked to people, and as I'm in mastermind groups with lots and lots of people, the people that succeed apparently the most effortlessly, although we know it's never effortless, it takes 10,000 hours plus. They are the ones who don't doubt that whatever it is they want to do can be done. They don't get swirled up in the morass of emotions. They just, I've been watching this Steve Bartlett, Everyday Steve videos, as 24-year-old in Manchester, and he just simply, he's so emotionally intelligent, it's astonishing at that age, but also he never doubts that he can achieve the things he wants to achieve. He knows he's going to have problems.
Well, in a funny sort of a way, this isn't about emotional intelligence for Elon Musk. It's about being a visionary.
Yes.
So he has cried when he's been on the receiving end of, Buzz Aldrin, people who went into space who were his absolute inspirational heroes, telling him he was a loony, barking up the wrong tree. The visionariness was what kept him going there.
Yeah.
Not belief in himself. Now, this isn't all good, because after I'd seen this video yesterday, I discovered that women who work for his organisation have been treated very badly indeed. So it's not all good, but I'm bigging up his ability to keep going, even as people were telling him bad things about him.
Yeah. Talking of women in the space program, I watched that amazing film that you talked about.
Oh, I loved it. I could watch it again now. It was so good. Hidden Figures.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so
good. It's funny. It's lovely. It's my favourite sort of, and it's got Kevin Costner in it. It's my favourite sort of film.
He's brilliant in it, isn't he?
He is brilliant. And that one, the woman with the specs who goes all geeky and has that marvellous maths moment. And the fact that actually the airline, the pilot, the rocket pilot was asking for her, get the bird with the brains, he got a vibe off her, didn't he, at a meeting, that she was the one that understood the maths. Yeah.
And I loved it that the ladies were called computers before computers had even been invented.
And then the lovely one that went in and sorted out the IBM computer in that room all by herself. She got the manual out, didn't she? And she went, and then the one that went, she stole the manual, didn't she, from the library?
Yes, she did.
And the other one who then got legal permission to go to night school. I mean, they were brilliant, those women, weren't they?
The film, if you haven't seen this film, go and see it.
It's called Hidden Figures. Honestly, Nicola, if we think we've had it hard, we have not had it hard by comparison to those women.
A 45-minute round-trip run to go to the loo.
We have not had it hard. If their hard was 100, mine's been about 5.
Yes, but it's a very fun, life-affirming film. It's got lots of great.
Yeah, it is.
Well, which I love.
Yeah,
awesome.
Now, who or what's impressed you? Was that it? Your film?
Well, two lots of people. One person and a group of people. One of the things that are impressing me, the hostesses of Stupa. They are ladies who have houses out here, and they've generally got husbands as well. And they have an endless stream of relatives at this time of year coming to stay. And I have invited lots of people, but nobody said they're going to come and stay yet. But I imagine I'll get there in the end. But I will be a lot more careful with my boundaries, as you say, because this endless stream of relatives involves people say they, when their relatives come, they say, remember, you're on holiday, we're not. So you're coming to stay for free. If we won't be able to go out every night for dinner with you, you can make your own, do whatever you like, you do your own thing.
Yes.
But these people have no concept of the bed changing, towel washing, cleaning that goes on. And sometimes in one day, you've got a relative going out on the 11 o'clock plane, which is bringing in a new set of rellies.
Yeah.
And the whole house has to be turned around.
Absolutely. And presumably some of them have got a little bit of day job they've got to sit at their computer and do, haven't they?
No, not really.
Or hobby, like, Right Club, 3,000 words,
Yeah, absolutely. If it was me, I'd be spending on cleaners to do this, because the cleaners are dirt cheap out here. They're desperate for work. But it doesn't seem to occur to these ladies. The other thing is they spend on entertaining. So they'll, when their relatives come, they'll have a barbecue or something to introduce them to all their friends. It's astonishing. It really is how hospitable some of these ladies are, and how hard they work at making holidays lovely for other people who are not actually even paying them for the accommodation.
I think actually, I do know the sort of woman, and sometimes I am that woman myself, where we do want to make it nice for other people.
Yes, and I'm totally thinking I will want to do that too.
And it's a lovely thing. That's a lovely thing in our gift, particularly when you live somewhere like you do.
Yeah, but then the other thing is that I got an email from the guy who created my app. And he said, we're doing a major upgrade on the app, and I'd like to have a call with you just to talk you through it and what it's going to be able to do for you, because it's going to be really cool. And as he was doing, and so we arranged a call. He's in Australia, but I was astonished to see his diary had all sorts of times available, which I knew must be in his evening, in the middle of his night, first thing in his morning. But I found a time effortlessly to talk to him, and he walked me through, and he kept saying, it's all being redesigned. You'll get a redesign by Greg Merrilees. Now, Greg Merrilees is a very talented graphic designer who everyone uses for their websites. And I'm thinking, all the alarm bells are going off in my head. How much is this going to cost me? Because I do pay quite a high retainer to keep my app current anyway. And I was thinking, oh my God, on top of Greg Merrilees' redesign, on top of everything else. And I said to him, I I can't help. The alarm bells are going off now when you talk about Greg. And he said, no. He said, there's no extra budget for this. It's all included in the service. I just want everyone to be happy with their apps, and for them not just to keep functioning, but to keep getting better and better. And sorry, a big fat wasp just flew past me. And I was just so thrilled by that, the fact that he's really committed to ongoing customer service and delight. And I was delighted. So.
And just remind me, and you can cut this out if you need to, the ongoing monthly retainer is $199, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think as something where I can do push notifications, I can communicate with people depending on the area they're in. They will be able to go straight through to my membership site and all my social media. They'll get alerts when there's new content on any of my social media. It's just incredible investment.
I think if you get this sort of attention included, then well, you're onto a winner there.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing the designs, because this graphic designer is so talented. Making an app look nice is so important, because it makes people want to use it. It's called the user interface, the UX, Judith. Well, that's us then.
Yeah.
We managed to do it without your telecoms man.
Well, isn't that brilliant? Yes, that's good. Yeah.
I'll get it edited and talk to you later.
Yeah, okay, see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.